Welcome to Straight Outta Savannah. My guest, Jacqueline Jensen, is here, and I am super excited to speak to her. She's going to tell you a little about who she is, what she does, and how she can help you. Jacqueline, take it away.
Hi, great to be here. I'm Jacqueline Jensen, a medium and Akashic Records practitioner and healer. I started in the legal field and was there for 20 years. And I kept feeling like that wasn't where I was supposed to be. And it took a toll on my mental and emotional health. When my mom passed away, it caused me to do some deep reflection and to ask myself, when I leave this planet, what legacy, what impact do I want to have on this world?
Mm.
And that got me thinking and pondering on that. And as I tuned in, I finally told God, okay, I'm finally ready to live my life's mission, to fulfill my life's purpose. And he's like, you sure about that? And I'm like, yes.
You know,
And he was like, okay, put your spiritual gifts at the forefront of your business. And so that's where my business came about, was from that journey. And now I help people with uncovering their soul's blueprint and helping them to feel and live in alignment at a soul level, not just from a day-to-day what the world says is the right way or the best way, but what your soul is wanting you to experience and be and do right now at this stage in your life.
that question that you ask yourself was powerful. We often don't know what we want. We know we don't want that type of man or a woman. We don't want that type of job. We don't want to live in that particular place. We know what we don't want, but asking what your soul wants is so powerful. Why do you think this came about after your mom died? Do you think that was a natural transition, or what do you think?
I think it was multiple things happening. My sister passed away a few years before my mom, and at her funeral, she had hundreds of people that came to her funeral. And I didn't realize the impact that she had had on so many people. She was a quiet powerhouse person, like a quiet soul that in some ways could easily go undetected, but yet her impact and influence was so profound on so many people. And so having that kind of eye-opening experience of seeing the possibility of the amount of people that you could impact just by being you. And then having my mom pass again, not again, but losing another family member and having my mom pass just made it hit home even more of, hey, life isn't forever. And what do I want to utilize my time doing?
That is powerful. That's powerful because a lot of times people come to those conclusions with a near-death experience or something catastrophic. That wasn't how that happened. You understand? It's
Kind of a
like,
different dynamic. Part of why I felt ready to step forward was because when my mom passed, I loved her a lot. I didn't realize it until after she passed. I tried so hard to please her so she'd be proud of, always cognizant of how she felt. I feel like I dampened who I was and dampened my own choices because I was putting it through that filter. And when she passed, then it felt like, okay, I don't have that filter anymore. I don't have to report to her. Not that she required that and not that was in place, but just kind of an energetic obligation that I realized I had imposed myself
yes,
that I was kind of living out and functioning under. And
yes.
so when she passed, that energetic cloud was gone, which allowed me to feel more free and step forward without hurting anyone.
That's huge because so many of us, it takes a long time, in many cases, for us to feel that way. To me, it's like permission. I did this whole study, probably over a year, on giving ourselves permission. because we've been so conditioned to ask for it. That is just what you're talking about. You stepped there because this thing has occurred and given you an open door so that you can be who you say you are, who you see yourself as, or who you vision yourself. How did the rest of your family react to your coming out?
Mixed feelings. With regards to angel work and stuff, I've been seeing and communicating with angels since I was a kid. So this is something that's been part of my life, my whole life. And my immediate family have been aware of it. But again, it's one of those things, especially with the dynamic of religion and culture, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a special thing. That's a sacred thing. And so that transition to being more public about it, people had mixed feelings about it and concerns, but I'm going forward. I know this is what I'm meant to do. I've seen the impact on individuals, and it makes me happy to help people.
Yes, and that's what it's all about. Even whatever you do, I was speaking with a friend earlier, and I said, the thing I've decided is that I am a healer. All the things I know how to do, the different modalities we studied, and I know you've studied a lot like me, all the things you studied are already you inside. And so the way you do things may not be the same way that, Gabby Bernstein does it, or whoever, you know what I mean? And so has that been a thing for you? What do they call it? Imposter syndrome. Has that been a thing for you with the work you're doing?
Yes, it has. That has come up. And it's interesting because that actually came up recently. One of the things with that being, okay, this is a gift I've had for decades. I've had this since a kid. So 30, 40 years of doing this. Oh, you would think, oh, you've been doing it for that many years. You should feel solid in it, which I do. With meeting and talking to a lot of people, some who they haven't had this gift and they studied it. They went to like an angel school or they, a spiritual school and like studied it and learned it from more the logic side of how everything works, how everything functions. And then tuning into the actual practice is different than what I've experienced. It did create this, well, I haven't gone to school. I just know what I know because of what I've experienced. Some of that imposter comes in because of that. And then when talking to people, they're like, oh, but what about this and this? And I'm like, I haven't delved into that aspect because I've just been focusing here.
From what I can tell, talking to so many people, that is huge for it. To be honest, sometimes like there are people that have like big platforms that I've seen, you know what I mean? And they even feel like that. I realized I was in good company and that whatever it is, these are things that God placed inside of me. And this is not the first time that I'm using them. You know what I mean? So I've gotten to that place where, of course, we all have that little imposter syndrome, sometimes rearing its head. Even though we work around it, it's there. But I got this.
Yeah. And I love how you were mentioning that imposter syndrome part too. Because as you were talking just now, the kind of the aha that came to mind is imposter syndrome comes when we're comparing to other people. If we are being us and embodying who we are, we don't need to worry about being an imposter because we're being us.
That is powerful. And the thing is, if we can get people, and this is the thing, like I tell people, I'm not a crystal ball. I'm just a person that's connected. But you are connected also. When I can get people to understand and feel that they are also connected, that these are gifts I have, which you have them also. We all have them. That opens up their mind to other possibilities.
Yeah.
It feels divine when we can do this. One day I was watching Gary Jones and he says, I've been homeless, living in my car, but I was going to work. He said, I was going to the gym, taking a shower and everything. And he talked and said, I was talking to God and I said, God, you told me to do this. I was listening as he was talking. He said I was doing videos on YouTube and Instagram and nobody was watching. He said, one day I just said, okay, I'm going to do this video and talk about this stuff. And he said, I went off on the video. I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here talking to my damn self. I listened to that and it gave me pause because I was like, okay, this means that this is a thing that maybe more people go through. You know, a lot of times we don't know how long they go through that until somebody sees them. We do these shows, podcasts, I do lives, you know, post videos, and we're like, all right, God, you told me to do these things, talk to these people. Where are people at?
Sometimes when God tells us to do something, it's maybe not for the outcome, but for our own refinement. It's that process, that showing up, increasing our understanding, our depth, and having those aha moments within ourselves. Yes, we will impact others. Sometimes we won't see the numbers. The impact along the way is continuous.
We're impacting people. I'm putting it out, impacting people. I don't always know all the people that I'm impacting. You know, I was telling my husband the other day about a young lady on Facebook. I've never met her, but she follows me, shares my stuff. She's a sweet person for years. Years. I had to think about it from one page to another. I had a page that was stolen and I got a new page. She found me. For a long time, she never commented, never put a like, but she follows me from platform to platform. You know what I'm saying? These people, they're watching you. But not commenting, not liking, you don't really know until you do. For me, that feels amazing because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Even now in all of the craziness around us, still I'm being what I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do. And the other part is I recognize and realize that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Not only that, I'm being what I'm supposed to be. Sometimes we're not supposed to be just doing. We're supposed to be the light. I'm trying to think. I saw a video and I'm trying to think if it was yours. Something like that. And I was like, oh my God, you know, but anyway.
Yeah. Be the light. Be that hope for others that are in that darkness to see there is hope out there.
Yeah.
There is light at the end of the tunnel with all this chaos that's going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be able to hold that safe space for people.
It's like we knew this implosion was coming. And if we stay on the outside shining the light, I think we'll be okay.
One thought that's come to mind as you've been sharing is the importance of being out there and speaking and being visible because you never know who's watching. There's a woman I followed on social media for 2 years, friended her and watched her posts, finally connected with her and did some work together. Long story short, it's because of her and an event that she put on connected me with another woman, daughter's birth mom, led to the adoption of our daughter. You never know the power of the connections you create by the work you do.
You're right. You know, because we don't, a lot of times we are looking in this little bubble and it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
That was amazing because you think about it, you never know. I always tell people, I say, I feel like if I wasn't obedient to God, and I call him God, people call him source, universe, whatever you want to call him. But if I wasn't obedient to God by leaving the East Coast and coming west, well, I would have met my husband because I met him out here in the West.
Yeah.
And he also was from the East. Suppose we hadn't been obedient and just gone. I didn't have a reason to go there. Really.
The amazing thing is sometimes when God tells us to do one thing, that doesn't mean that one thing is the end all be all right? Sometimes that one thing he gives us is to guide us in a direction. He might course correct and be like, now that you've gotten this far, we're pivoting and going in this direction. That's what happened to me and my husband meeting. God said, go here. And then it was like, nope, that wasn't the end. That was just to get you connected with this person so they could introduce you to your husband.
When we look back, we can see all of that. But when you're going through it, it's a whole other thing.
Oh, for sure.
So you can look back and you're like, wow, so many things set that up, so many different turns, paying attention, listening to God and recognizing your gifts. And so many things set it up one by one.
It's noticing those soul nudges.
I wasn't prepared to move across the country. I didn't have any money, like $500 to move. You know, I didn't have a job. I just had a word. Go. And now we're here. So many things. It's almost like a pinball machine. You pull it back, and this one pops it, and that one pops it. What are your plans for the future with your business? How do you see it shifting?
I'm planning on continuing in-person events like I have been doing. I have another one coming up in February for Your Aligned Truth. Getting back to that. What is truth for you? What does your truth look like? And having that soul level alignment versus everyone else's truth.
Yeah.
And then I also am looking at going to be doing my own podcast as well. And helping to share the word and help expand and let people have that experience of recognizing what their soul blueprint is, recognizing those soul nudges and helping people feel grounded and aligned within themselves on that deep inner level so that no matter what life throws at them, because life is crazy and we know it's going to get just even more, being able to weather the storms.
Yeah.
With clarity and peace.
Yes. You are so needed because that's what people need right now. When we first had this thing that happened for us last November, I got on TikTok and I just felt guided to pray. I told the people, I'm coming on to pray. If you have anything you want me to pray for, or you want me to pray for our country and our world, and that's what I did. I was on there probably about 2 hours, just praying because I felt called to do it. My heart is hurt, but not really because I knew. I knew that thing. I knew it. And it's one thing to know, and then it's another to see.
For sure.
In a place, and I know it's hard because you got the news popping out stuff, crazy crap, or whatever. Then you don't even know what to believe these days. But if we can just stay in this place, you know, where we're not delusional, kind of really delusional. You know what I mean? Like see it as we know it is and not as we see it. That makes sense. I have one question that I ask all my guests before we end. If there was anything in the world that you could change, what would that be and why?
That's a great question. One that I don't know that I've sat and thought about before. If I could change one thing in the world. It's interesting this thought that popped up, so I'm just going to share it. It's changing the school systems, having it be more nature and developing intuition, not just book smart, but also the everyday living in a grounded, holistic way.
And that is, I think I've had that question answered like that one other time. Out of maybe 300 or 400 interviews, that's the second time somebody answered like that. And honestly, nobody answered like that until last year. So that's been really good. We need to change the school system. They're creating workers, though. That's what their goal is.
And I think part of it, too, why it hits home for me is people say and mention, oh, kids are resilient. Kids are resilient. They'll bounce back. But then why do so many adults have to have therapy and have traumas that they have to work through and subconscious programming to address. A lot of that came from childhood. Kids are resilient to an extent. But what if we could prevent so much of that negative programming, the negative beliefs that they have taken on? What if we could prevent that? And instead instill courage, power, pride, emotional maturity, and mental clarity from a young age. And how much more awesome would that be?
That would
How
be,
much less adult work they'd have to do.
that'd be the thing is that would be phenomenal, but would take them off of the agenda of the capitalists. Think about it. They want school to train workers. They want people to think that you go to school and then you go to work, you work and you just work. This is what school taught us. And that's what they want to continue to teach. They want workers. I realized that for me, I wasn't born to work like that. It took me 50 years to figure it out, but I wasn't born to do it.
Works for some and not for others. That's starting to shift that premise that everyone needs to do that. That's the best way to do it or the right way to do it. And there are still, especially older generations, where they feel like that is the way to do things. But I feel like the newer generations, like ours and younger, are realizing like it doesn't have to be that way and things can look differently, and that's okay. And just because it's not the way that you've been taught or the way you've done it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Two things can be true. That's one of the things I hope I taught my kids. There are many ways to do it. It doesn't have to be done this way. This is the way. I know another way. Do it that way. I was very easygoing in that way because I felt like, no, it doesn't have to be done just this one way. A lot of us grow up and say, we're going to be different from our parents. Two things can be true. All right. So any closing words that you want to give the audience? And if you're doing something, filling a program or anything like that, you can also share where people can connect with you.
The best way to connect with me is on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, it's Jacqueline Jensen. On Instagram, it's Jacqueline Jensen. And if you're wanting to find out about events, I often will post those on social media. You can also go to my website, jacquelinejensen.com. That's JacquelineJenson.com. You can sign up to receive emails of tips, tricks, education, and insights, and to be notified of any events that I do. And on there, I also have blog posts that you can read and learn more about what I do.
All the details will be in the show notes. I'll put those and all the links as well in the show notes. So it'd be easier for you to just click on. I appreciate you being here today, Jacqueline. This has been amazing. But yeah, so I just really have enjoyed this conversation and just learning a little bit about what drives you, because that always is a thing, because people always think that, they see people and they think that they're special. They can't do the things that you do, but lots of people can do it. And one of the things that I'm going to say is that when you open the door, you never know what's going to show up. All your gifts, you start opening the door to them. Some of them, just like she said, you may have experienced that in childhood where, you could see things or you could hear things or you just know things. Most people around you know these things. Thank you for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. We finished listening to Jacqueline Jensen, an award-winning speaker, certified Akashic Records practitioner, and lifelong intuitive who has communicated with angels since childhood. So we spoke to her and she spoke about her 20 years in the legal field and now helps others access divine guidance. Isn't that amazing? I'm so excited for this conversation and I'm grateful you've been here with us. So make sure that you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to Straight Outta Savannah, where the magic happens, so that you can know where the magic happens. Definitely check out my stand store at Intuitive Tammi, where I have my offerings, paid and free stand store / Intuitive Tammi right above my head. Thank you for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah, where the magic happens. Bye now.